Hey, Pastor Art here. I'm in a very special place. It's the Valley of Elah from 1 Samuel 17. Here's what you know it as, is the great battle between David and Goliath. This wonderful kid's story about this big giant who gets his head bashed in. But it says, now the Philistines gathered their forces for war and assembled at Sukkot in Judah. They pitched a camp at Ephes Dammon between Sukkot and Azekah. There is Sukkot over there. And if you look that way, on top of that hill, that is Azekah. Now, on the other side of that is Gath, where the Philistines were from. And it says, the Israelites assembled and camped in the Valley of Elah. This is the Valley of Elah. Keep going around and come back to here. They drew up their battle line to meet the Philistines. The Philistines occupied one hill, the Israelites another, with the valley between them. So the Israelites were on there. This is the crazy part about this. This is the very spot that this would have happened. And there's a creek bed right here. It's a wadi, which means it's intermittent. And here's what happens. A champion named Goliath, who came from the Gath, he was 9 feet tall. He had 125-pound bronze armor on. He had a spear that had an iron shaft that was 15 pounds. I mean, he could have dunked a basketball just by standing there. And then you've got this kid who is young coming up against them. I mean, it's amazing. And he defies them and says, am I not a Philistine? Are you not the servants of Saul? I mean, he pegs them. Here, you guys, you servants of Saul, choose a man and come down to me. If he's able to fight me, if I overcome him and kill him, we will serve you. And all the Israelites were dismayed and terrified. He's 9 feet tall. Of course, you're not going to want to take him. Now, David was the son of an Ephrathite from Bethlehem. Bethlehem's on that ridge back there on the top right-hand side. And he was told to go grab some cheese and some grilled wheat. This is all wheat right here. And come and give a report to his dad and go give this stuff up. It's 40 days this is happening. Evening and morning. It's happening every day. And so David left his things and he asked, hey, what will be done to the man who goes and takes this guy on? And he says, the king will give great wealth to the man who kills him. He will also give his daughter in marriage, and he will exempt his father's family from taxes in Israel. They got great opportunity. Wow, you're part of the royal family, exempt from taxes. This is going to be great. But no one steps up. Hey, I'm just going to lose my life. Forget that. What good is that? And David stands up and says, man, I'll do this. I'll go against this guy. Your servant has killed both the lion and the bear. Who is this uncircumcised Philistine who defies the armies of the living God? God will deliver me. He had confidence, and I believe it's because he knew that he had God's very word. One day you'll be king. I'm not king yet. I'm going to take on the lion and the bear. I can take this uncircumcised Philistine on. No problem. Such is my confidence in the word of God to do exactly as God says he will do. So Saul dresses him in his tunic. He says, look, in his armor, I can't wear this. Basically, look, I can't do battle as others. I got to be myself. And he goes down to this creek bed right here in some vicinity, probably this very spot, and he selects 5 smooth stones. And he takes those 5 smooth stones, puts them in his pocket, and he goes to him and says, you come against me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of armies, whom you have defied. This day the Lord will hand you over to me, and I'll strike you down and I'll cut off your head. This is Babe Ruth's way of pointing at the outfield. Now I'm going to hit a home run. He calls it. This is good. And he had confidence. Such was his confidence because he knew that God is the promise-keeping God. And he says, it's not by sword or spear that the Lord saves, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give all of you into our hands. And it says he ran quickly. He didn't just like intimidate. He ran, and he'd been practicing as a shepherd. He knew how to throw that thing. Bam! Right in his temple. Falls down, cuts his head off. Exactly as he said he would. And there was a great victory that day. So what do we learn? 2 things. 1, who are you fighting for? All these guys are fighting, it says, oh, you're all fighting for Saul. And you're fighting for riches, the wife, to be the son-in-law of the king, to avoid taxes. And nobody was willing to step up. But David was willing to fight for the Lord. It makes a difference on who your confidence in and what your reward is. Second, The word champion in the Hebrew means the man in between. You don't get that sense in English, but the reality is David was a foreshadowing of our Messiah, the one who would stand in between on our behalf, the one who would win the victory on our behalf. All this is this beautiful lived out metaphor picture of what Jesus would do for everyone else, for all of us, to win the battle against the great enemy, against the one who wants to take you into slavery, the one who wants to kill you, the enemy of our souls. And Jesus is the champion who has won the battle. And that's the message of the Valley of Elah.